Production of the J.R. Eldridge Show is made possible with financial support from Arnold, Batson, Turner & Turner, attorneys at law. Blake Bell of Edward Jones Investments. The accounting firm of Turner, Rogers, Manning & Plyler, PLLC. Southern Bancorp. Mary and Martha's Florist and Gifts. Jostens. Doctors Rob and Gary Rucker. Taylor King, Personal Injury Lawyers. Twin Rivers Health and Rehabilitation. Welch Funeral Home. Roger Wingfield of State Farm Insurance. And Southwest Sporting Goods. This is the J.R. Eldridge Show with the coach of the Arkansas State Champion Football Badgers. Joining Coach Eldridge today is your host, Caleb Bird.
Welcome back to another week of the J.R. Eldridge Show. I'm your host, Caleb Bird, and we're back, as always, with Coach Eldridge. And Coach, your team traveled down to Ashdown Friday night. They played a pretty good Ashdown team, and it was a close game, but in the second half, the Badgers broke ahead and won 44-12. It was a big margin of victory.
Yeah, it was, I was really proud of our guys. Felt like they prepared really well throughout the entire week in preparation for Ashdown. Had 2 practices in the rain, played with a wet ball all week in practice. And I just thought our guys did a great job offensively, really, of not turning the ball over. And we only had 1 turnover, and Ashdown had 4 turnovers. So that really helped us to win the field position game, and then our defense creating those turnovers in great field position for our offense. Our special teams giving our offense great field position the entire night. And then, being able to come away with points every time that we were in the red zone, except for the time that we turned the ball over, really gave us an opportunity just to continue to gain momentum. And in conditions like that, sloppy field, wet ball, not much traction. I was really proud of our players and the way that they handled that, the way that they just kept putting on more steam throughout the entire game and came away with a really good victory. So excited about going to work again this week, getting ready for our next opponent, but just really proud of our football team.
Yeah, and Coach, like you said, the conditions on the field weren't great. On the sideline, a lot of the guys on the sideline were standing in ankle or higher deep water on the sideline. So the team really was able to put aside those conditions and really limit their mistakes. Yeah,
it was, we'd been talking about it all week because we knew in the forecast, especially for southwest Arkansas, that we were going to have a lot of rain. So not only did we practice in it in preparation for it, we also talked about it quite a bit. We even showed a highlight film of the 2015 Dardanelle game, those sloppy conditions, to try to get our guys ready for that. And, basically the message was to embrace the conditions. I mean, that's, and I felt like that's what our guys did. I mean, they didn't shy away from it. They did their normal stuff in the rain, and we were able to come away victorious.
Right, Coach, let's take a look at some of the highlights from the game. All right, so Ashdown starts out with the ball, running the triple option, run heavy option offense. First drive, Arkadelphia gets a fumble.
Yeah, they've switched back and forth between the wing tee and spread, for the past several years. Last year they were spread out a little bit. This year they were running the wing tee, and so I felt like our defensive coach did a great job. I mean, really, there were only two really big plays that we felt like on those 2 touchdowns. We felt like we just didn't have our eyes right. You got to have your eyes right playing against an offense like that.
So conditions for the film crew weren't great. We're pretty low angle, a lot of rain, so it meant a lot of tarps blocking the vision. But Still able to see pretty well what happened just a minute ago. There was a touchdown from Zon Hatley, and Ashdown back with the ball now and going to the passing game a little bit, able to mix it up.
Yeah, they were. Thought they did a good job of mixing their calls, and then our really two of our mistakes came on pass plays, or one of their big plays for a touchdown was a pass play. We just got to make sure that we cover that tight end and wing. But our defense, for the most part, I felt like did a great job of playing assignment football, making sure that we won the line of scrimmage up front. Felt like our defensive line did that. Our linebackers played exceptional as well.
Arkadelphia backed up deep here in their own territory, but Zon Hatley breaking out from the shadow of the goal line with a big run.
It was a big run right there, and then we had a 60-yard touchdown called back. We've got to eliminate those penalties. I thought really we should have scored on that drive, and hate to have a play like that called back.
Yeah, the punt gets off well, which is good, because you remember a couple weeks ago, a heavy rain, punting situations didn't go super well for Arkadelphia, some missed snaps, but all the snaps on punts went very well.
Yeah, it was huge. Gabe being able to flip the field, and then Cannon quick kicked one right there in front of the goal line. So really good field position. Our defense and our special teams just, I think we had a 40-yard head start on almost every possession that we had based on all of the turnovers and our special teams plays.
Arkadelphia forces a fumble. The next play, they fumble the ball themselves. So Ashdown has the ball now backed up deep in their own territory. But an errant pass here is going to be picked off by Victor Tadamy. Good pressure to force the wobbly pass. Yeah,
Victor was our special teams player of the week. He had some great plays defensively. Had that interception return for about 30 yards. He also had a 72-yard kickoff return and a 43-yard punt return. He did a great job all night. Offensively, we were able to take advantage of that field position that we were given every time and come away with points on all but the turnover that we had earlier.
A 14-0 lead going into the second quarter, but a long return here for Ashdown, something you don't usually see against the Badgers kick team.
Yeah, I thought, on the top side there, we can't really see it from, we got held big time. We had a guy that just had our guy wrapped up there on the sideline. He was trying to get off the block, and he was just almost tackled up top, but those things happen, and we've got to stay outside and make a play on that.
Defense coming out here, and they do very well against this run-heavy attack from Ashdown. We saw it last week against Harmony Grove. Harmony Grove came out, ran practically the same offense, and then this week the Badgers do it once again against a run-heavy T offense.
Yeah, our defense did a great job. Right there, we've got to get better pursuit angles right there. And then this is one of the plays that I was talking about earlier where our eyes weren't right. They want to lull you to sleep with the run, heavy offense, and then they dump it off to the tight end right there. We don't have our eyes right. We're playing the run too heavy at the secondary position right there. We've got to be able to see that guy release and stay on him as he's coming upfield.
A pretty poor kickoff there gives the Badgers good field position, but really unable to take advantage of it here. Pass on third down, can't get to the markers, and then a wide open receiver here on fourth down is just overthrown.
Yeah, this was a little bit disheartening right there. We have a guy wide open, and we're just unable to connect right there. Even in those wet conditions, we've got to be able to make those plays.
Yeah, and then a long run breakaway from Ashdown, and now they've drawn the score within 2 points. It's 14-12. Badgers had that 14-0 lead going into the quarter, and then 14-12 now. And this is the point where the Badgers really grind in and begin to show their dominance in this game.
Yeah, it's a great return right here by Victor. Does a great job. Conditions kind of slow him down a little bit, but he does a great job, getting that 72-yard return right there. And again, defensively, those were really two mistakes that they scored on. but we were able to overcome that with special teams like this one right here, and then also the kickoff return. But in the red zone, we were able to really do a good job of coming away with points.
Yeah, Gabe Goodman did a really fine job. You saw a field goal there in the rain, and he made 3 field goals in the rain. So he did a really nice job taking his chances and putting points on the board.
Yeah, he really did. Really proud of Gabe. Just continues to work really hard, trying to make sure that he's accurate with his kicks. Did a great job in the game versus Ashdown.
And Gabe even made a tackle in the game on a kickoff. You don't usually see him getting in for tackles, but
yeah, he practices tackling every week on Tuesday with our when we go through our tackle takeaway circuit. So we try to prepare him for that, and he did a really good job of making sure that their returner went down.
Yeah, now the defense makes a good stop here, forces a punt from Ashdown. I think, yes, this one's going to be returned by Tadamy, and another good return from Victor.
Yeah, it's another huge play. Special teams giving us the opportunity to have the ball in Ashdown's territory right there, and did a great job right there. Earlier you saw Jason Campbell make that TFL. Jason Campbell was our defensive player of the game, just made plays all night.
Saw a new formation there for Arkadelphia, 2 fullbacks in the backfield with Turner at quarterback. Looks almost like something we see from Washita every week. Is that something you took from the Washita coaches?
Well, we've actually had that in since the beginning of the season. We've used it a couple times. We call that formation double dog. We also use what we call heavy. Sammy Hawthorne has really been doing a great job for us defensively, but we also brought him in to block as a fullback. We just felt like we kind of played a really conservative game offensively, and we felt like if we were able to not turn the ball over and just keep gaining some yardage and take advantage of the field position, that we would continue to gain that momentum throughout the game, and be able to continue to secure the ball and get points.
Goodman with an excellent field goal going into the half, a 42-yarder in the pouring rain. Not often you see a high school kicker make those kind of kicks. And then the second half, Ashdown comes out with the ball, punts the ball away, almost a muff punt there from Tadamy. He's able to jump on it though.
Yeah, and Victor right there, he really, I felt like, if he was able to get that ball, he's probably going to do something really good with it. We'd want him to take that chance if he felt like he was going to make something happen. Just unfortunate the conditions right there. We weren't able to secure that ball, but Cannon does a great job right here on his quick kick.
Yeah, really nice job by Cannon. Tries to draw the defense off sides first, can't get him off sides, and he's going to pin Ashdown deep in their own territory here. And they're able to get out of the shadow of the goal line there with a nice pass. Yeah,
right there we really kind of let them off the hook a little bit, getting out of that danger zone, that backed up position. But again, our defense just keeps playing hard. I felt like we ran to the football well all night. We're trying to strip the football, creating those. We created several turnovers, so just excited about the way our defense played.
Arkadelphia now with the football once again, and Cannon Turner with some nice running.
Yeah, Cannon did a great job running the football. A lot of times when he's back there by himself, or we've got those extra blockers for him to run, it helps us in our running game to be able to use him as a runner.
A really nice run here, getting deep in their territory. You see one of the linemen put his hands up, thought he had a touchdown, but no, he stopped at the 5-yard line, and still trying to push it in here. Getting close to the goal line, can't quite get the ball in though. And then a bit of an extracurricular activity here, and this really seemed to me, this changed the game.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, we coach our kids, against doing anything like that. It was a poor decision by Lorenzo right there to retaliate. The bad thing about it is 19 started the whole deal by pushing and punching. Law Dog, or Lorenzo, I call him Law Dog, retaliates right there, and he's the one that gets ejected. They had another guy get ejected as well for his second personal foul. But it's unfortunate. A lot of times the guy who retaliates is the one who ends up facing the brunt of the punishment. We talked to our guys about that. We don't want our guys to get in that situation. We've got to play well between the whistles and do enough between the whistles that we don't have to do anything after the whistles, and we can't retaliate when somebody else does.
Yeah, and really after that point, Ashdown seemed to get a lot of energy, it seems like, after that point, but it wasn't really directed towards any given thing. And the Badgers really directed their energy for the rest of the game and stayed focused and picked up the field goal there, went up 23-12, but then coming out on offense and on defense really put the pedal to the metal at that point here, scoring a touchdown and taking a 30-12 lead.
Yeah, I thought it was really, really good. I mean, our guys just continued to put on more steam. I mean, you saw us. They tried to fake a punt to get something going. Josh Wallace, Cole Turner, they did a great job sniffing that fake out. And so we get the ball in their territory, and then we're able to get in the box after that. And I felt like, really, I mean, if you saw the guy who tried to make a tackle on Cannon, he really didn't try to make a tackle on Cannon. They kind of gave up, if you will. So I felt like our players made them do that as they continue to put on more steam.
Right here, Jason Campbell with a interception return for a touchdown. That was a big moment for Jason.
Yeah, it was huge. He played a great game all night, and then to be able to come away with that pick six. He's been a great player for us last year as a sophomore. Been doing a great job for us as a junior, and excited about him being able to make that happen.
Here on the kickoff return, a bit of misdirection from Ashdown, but Arkadelphia takes care of it well. And then the Badger defense just continues to stuff this run game for the Panthers.
Yeah, they tried some trickery toward the end of the game in all their special teams, and then really right here, I felt like Coach Kaiser and our defensive staff, Coach Chandler and Coach Myers, did a great job of preparing our guys for the tricks that they would have. You kind of see toward the end of the game, they try some of that stuff and they're not able to do it. In fact, we think we had several of our sacks toward the end of the game when they tried to throw the football.
Yeah, right here, a really nice run from Buster Thomas, the sophomore, getting into some open space and showing just how much speed he has.
Yeah, he did a great job right here. We tried to get him the ball, throwing the ball a couple times. It's just hard to connect in these conditions. We were the team that ran the football the best in this game, and we knew going in that it was probably going to come down to who was able to run the football the best, and obviously Arkadelphia did. We had 260 yards rushing versus Ashdown, so huge night on the ground. Buster did a great job on that jet sweep, and then Alec Rubel, who was our offensive player of the game, felt like he blocked better than he has all year. Had 2 pancake blocks and 3 champion blocks. Also had the touchdown on the trap play, toward the end of the game. So really proud of the way he played as well.
So what's the difference between a pancake block and a championship block?
Well, the champion block is, where you just absolutely dominate the guy. You don't put him on his back, but it's a domination block, basically. Whereas a pancake, some of our coaches call it a cockroach in a urinal. Like he's turned over backwards and really can't get up. So that's more of a pancake block where you take him down and he's on his back.
Right. Well, Arkadelphia up now 44-12 after the touchdown from Rubel. The defense back out on the field, doing a nice job stopping Ashdown running back, and it's still the first team defense out there for the most part, and still doing a really nice job.
Yeah, our guys, I just felt like they finished off. We bent, but we didn't break. We didn't allow them in on that last play of the game. There, Sammy Hawthorne did a great job of not letting him in. We're swarming to the football. Everybody's trying to get to the ball to keep them out of the end zone, and we end up doing that. And they don't have enough time to get in there. Sammy driving his feet. You see Josh Wallace get in on it, and KJ Terry So that was really good for those guys to keep them out toward the end. But again, I felt like it was a really just a team effort. I mean, defense and special teams providing great field position, offense not turning the ball over and taking advantage of the opportunities that we were given offensively. So really proud of our team and the way they played in those conditions. They really embraced those conditions, and there's, I mean, you saw some crazy things happen in those conditions this week in our conference, and I really felt like our team was prepared for those conditions and went out and embraced them and did a great job in the game.
Yeah, and Arkadelphia, I mentioned it earlier, but Arkadelphia was a team that kept their composure throughout the game. After the scuffle happened, I said Ashdown, they had a lot of energy and they got kind of angry to an extent, but they weren't able to direct the energy very well. And Arkadelphia remained composed. There's a lot of penalties that Ashdown had. Arkadelphia didn't commit. A lot of times the Ashdown coaches had to take timeouts to fix problems going on the field that you didn't have to do with your team. So your team really showed that even though Ashdown had a lot of athletes and a lot of good players, your team was a team that was more disciplined and was able to stay in the game. Yeah,
and I think that's really a tribute to our guys and the way that they take coach and the way that they, I think they want to do the right thing at the right time for the right reasons. Obviously we had a mess up and we didn't do the right thing, but but I appreciate you saying that, because I really felt like our players after that situation, they realized, look, we cannot give in to that mentality. We've got to make sure that we do stay calm and we do the right thing. We play between the whistles as hard as we can, and have no extracurricular activity. So, and I'm looking forward to continuing to play with these guys. Our football team, I feel like we're, if we can continue to play our best football as we move forward, that we can just continue to really make progress as a football team and do a great job on Friday nights.
Yeah, Coach, and one part of your team that's really made progress this season, and I've been extremely impressed with the last couple of weeks, is the offensive line and really the offensive blocking as a whole. Early on in the season, anytime you had a big rush, it was really Zion or Cannon doing a lot of it themselves, breaking tackles and making guys miss. But now you saw the touchdown run, the long run from Cannon Turner. He didn't have to make anyone miss. He just ran right behind his blockers the whole way. So the offensive line has really improved this season.
Yeah, and this week I felt like we made a big jump, especially in our offensive line grades. So our grades were much better this week as we grade our players after the game. So the offensive line is getting better. And I feel like our team as a whole, we had growing up to do. I mean, we've got 5 new guys out there on the offensive line. And I just feel like as we move forward, if we can continue to grow and continue to get better, then we'll be all right.
All right, Coach. Let's take a look at some of the scores from around the conference last week. It was a crazy week in the 7-4A. First, Harmony Grove defeated Nashville 26-21. Fountain Lake over Malvern 35-0, and then Bauxite over Robinson 41-35. So those scores really shook up the conference heading into next week, and there's only 2 weeks left of the season. This is a big week. Bauxite travels to Arkadelphia, Malvern travels to Nashville, Harmony Grove at Fountain Lake, and then Ashdown at Robinson. But Coach, it's anybody's game now to win the conference. I mean, these scores from last week really put everyone in it. It's now, it was a crazy week. The Badgers have a really good chance this week against Bauxite to put themselves in a good playoff position.
Yeah, if ever a great opportunity was given to us, I mean, I think this is a great opportunity for us to be able to come out and really perform at a high level and compete against a good football team, a team that really, they've won a lot of games, and we're looking forward to the challenge. They're going to be really excited coming off of that win versus Robinson. And really, I mean, last year, especially in the first half, we struggled against Bauxite in the first half. And Robinson struggled against Bauxite, really the entire game last year when they played them versus that Dead T. And it's a really tough offensive stop. But we look forward to the challenge. I'm excited about our guys and just the the commitment that they have to their coaches and their teammates. I'm excited about going back to practice this week and trying to get better. And really the bottom line for us is focus on what's right ahead of us. We don't necessarily need to think about what other stuff is going on in the conference. We're focused on bauxite and bauxite alone, and we've got to really take care of business in practice so that we can take care of business in the game.
Right, Coach, and you mentioned bauxite's running that dead tee offense, and that's really similar to what we saw against Harmony Grove 2 weeks ago, Ashdown last week, and the Badgers just dominated that kind of offense, that kind of run-heavy offense. You have a really good front seven, D-line, linebackers. You expect to be able to put in the same performance against bauxite this week?
Well, I hope so. I mean, I know, I trust our defensive coaching staff. They're putting together good game plans every week, and they'll put another good game plan together this week. Our players have got to buy into that game plan and execute that game plan. But bauxite does present a little bit of a different problem. First of all, they've got a really good back in number 23. They've got a really good quarterback. They've got big offensive linemen that can move, and then they'll have 2 wide receivers out at least 60% of the time. So it takes some guys out of the box that we were able to have in the box versus both Ashdown and Haskell Harmony Grove. So they present a little bit of a different problem, even though they are lining up in that dead tee look. We're looking forward to the challenge. Look forward to a great week of practice and trying to make sure we've got our I's dotted and our T's crossed so that we can go into that game feeling confident about our game plan and trying to execute and play as hard as we can.
Yeah, bauxite's a bit of a different team in this sense that they've scored a lot of points this year. Usually that kind of offense, you see them low-scoring games, but bauxite scored a lot. They've also given up a lot of points too. So how do you see that faring on offense, on the offensive side of the ball for Arkadelphia?
Well, it's hard to predict. Every week, I mean, a lot of people are shocked by the scores that happened in our conference last week. It's hard to predict as far as that goes, but and there are so many unknown factors. There's so many unknown factors that a lot of times you don't end up considering. Hopefully, as coaches, we consider all of those factors, and that's what we're doing throughout the week, trying to make sure that we do have our I's dotted and our T's crossed. But we're going to put a great game plan together, offensively, defensively, and on special teams, and as our players buy into it throughout the week and really learn it and know how to execute it, I think we'll be able to do a good job of going out there and getting after it, and we just look forward to that challenge every week. Whether it's bauxite, Nashville, Robinson, Haskell Harmony Grove, there's no week that you can take off. You saw that Nashville Haskell Harmony Grove score. You see it's just every week you've got to be able to put everything you have into that game. And that's what we're going to do as a coaching staff. That's what we're going to do as players. And hopefully we'll be able to come away with a victory.
And finally, Coach, this week will be senior night for the Badgers, and you have a really good senior class this year. A class that's really led the program for the last 3 years. Last year led them to a state championship, and this year led the team back from that bad start, and now really a good team, and that's really a big deal part to the seniors. So do you have anything to say about the seniors before we close?
Those seniors, they've meant a ton to us, and they'll continue to mean a ton to us as we move forward throughout this season. Just on offense, defense, and special teams, you've got I could go through a list of 18 guys that really have done a great job for us in whatever role that it is they have provided for us. But huge part of the state championship last year, huge part of our success in a leadership role. As you said, coming off of that bad start, being able to really maintain a focus and maintain a belief level that has helped us to overcome that distraction of doubt, that lingering doubt that might come from from losing 5 games in a row. And that's the tough part. That's a really tough thing, especially for a 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old young man to do. And that's hopefully what we're teaching them in our football program, teaching them how to overcome those things, because bad things are going to happen. Storms are going to come into your lives. And so I feel like this senior class and some of the juniors too have really done a great job of being able to move us forward from that lingering doubt into more of a belief level and a confidence. And hopefully we're able to continue to build on that as we move forward. And the seniors are going to be a big part of that.
Well, guys, it's been a great 3 years for these seniors, and Friday night will be the last time they'll come out and play a regular season game at Badger Stadium. So come out and support them against Bauxite this Friday night at 7 p.m. Bauxite's undefeated, so it's going to be a great game. If you can't make it, be sure to tune in at ArkadelphiaBadgerTV.com, but really encourage you to come out to the game. Hopefully we'll see you on Friday night, and if we don't, we'll see you next week on the J.R. Eldridge Show.
The J.R. Eldridge Show is sponsored by Blake Bell of Edward Jones Investments, Welch Funeral Home, Southwest Sporting Goods, Arnold, Batson, Turner & Turner, Attorneys at Law, Jostens, Doctors Rob and Gary Rucker, Southern Bancorp, Taylor King, Personal Injury Lawyers, Mary and Martha's Florist and Gifts, Twin Rivers Health and Rehabilitation, Turner, Rogers, Manning and Plyler, PLLC, and Roger Wingfield at State Farm Insurance. Join us again next week for more Badger football action with Caleb Bird and head coach J.R. Eldridge.